Breaking news, Nigerians. Fresh tension in Edo State as Obaseki's government issues fresh ultimatum to Shaibu, orders him to return over 20 vehicles. Guys, this is huge. Let's find out more as we hit the news. But if you're joining us for the first time, you're very much welcome. I sincerely appreciate your presence. Kindly subscribe and please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you. Now, the Godwin Obaseki-led Edo State government has announced its plans to retrieve over 20 vehicles still in the possession of the former Deputy Governor, Comrade Shaibu. It was reported that this was made known in a public notice signed by the State Commissioner of Information and Orientation, Chris Osa, on Tuesday. In the notice titled Public Notice on Retrieval of 22 official government vehicles, the commissioner disclosed that Shaibu has been given 7 days to return the vehicles. He stated that should the former deputy governor fail to obey the directive, security agencies have been put on alert to retrieve these vehicles. And guys, the Edo State are not joking around though. This is a direct message to Shaibu, the former deputy, that all the official government vehicles allocated to the office of the deputy governor of Edo State, which are currently in the custody of the former deputy governor Shaibu, must be returned in the next 7 days from the date of this publication. Because if he fails to do so, then relevant security agencies have been put on alert to retrieve these vehicles after the expiration of this notice. Guys, this is huge. Mr. Shaibu, who was impeached by the Edo State House of Assembly after he fell out with his principal, Governor Godwin Obaseki, allegedly over his ambitious gubernatorial ambition and how he was quite desperate to clinch on to that ambition. He was quickly replaced by Marvelous Godwin Omobayo, a former chieftain of the Labour Party in the state. Although we saw how everything played out in Edo, how Shaibu was kicked out by Obaseki's government, and they brought in another person because, he tried working against his principal and the party. Even as they have impeached Shaibu, he is still working against his party. He is still trying his best to working against his party. But that aside, now I can see a lot of comments from Nigerians that the convoy or the cars given to Shaibu is much. How on earth did you assign so much, such as 22 vehicles, to a man? Even if it's yourself, it means you have up to 40, 50. That is irresponsible, according to Nigerians. Now, nobody is asking the question of how he was given 20 to 22 vehicles in the first place. On what account was he given? Later, they will say the state is struggling with funds. How can a deputy governor be given more than 30 cars, including the ones he submitted before? Did somebody then, and somebody will say state cannot pay 100k salary wages. Well, look at what they are giving to deputy governors. This is highly wasteful spending in the first instance. How dare you give 21 vehicles to this man? Guys, these are reactions from Nigerians. And we know that all these things has, been going on for quite some time, for quite a long time in Nigeria, whereby a lot of people have been discussing the cost of governance and how we should cut cost of governance, most especially in Nigeria, with our government officials spending lavishly. For example, you see that a state governor has over 20 vehicles for convoy. When a state governor is moving, you tend to see over 20 vehicle convoy following him. And then look at Shaibu. He was given about 22 vehicles, and now he's been asked to return these vehicles. And although a lot of Nigerians are quite shocked over the numbers of these vehicles, but guys, this is what we see now. I mean, this is Nigeria for you. Before now, the number of these vehicles, wasn't an issue. I mean, we tend to see these things happening. That's why people have been clamoring for, reducing cost of governance in Nigeria, including at the federal level, even the state level, and also the local government levels. But I mean, later the state governors will say, oh, they cannot pay, salaries. They cannot pay the minimum wage. And then you see that in most states where these governors have so many vehicles allocated to them, they tend to owe salaries. They tend to owe workers' salaries for years. You see that they are struggling to pay salaries. But when it comes to their own personal affair, they have cars. They see money to fuel these their long convoys. Haven't you seen where a governor is passing? You see the long convoys that goes along with him. So this is what we are facing in Nigeria. But then back to Philip Shaibu. Philip Shaibu, because of his, his anti-party activities, his desperation on becoming the governor by all means, he was kicked out from his position as the deputy just barely few months to the expiration of his tenure and that of Governor Obaseki. So now that another person has taken over, they've called on to Philip Shaibu to please bring back those vehicles. They are not his to own. It belongs to the Edo State government, and as such should be returned. So this is it, my country people. You see, in every state, they tend to allocate some certain things to the deputy governor. Like some deputy governor, they have their quarters, the quarters of the deputy governor. They give them allowances, they give them staff. Everything is at their disposal, even cars included. But at the end of their office, they tend to hand over everything. Even those that are, staying at the deputy governor's quarters, they will hand over everything for the incoming deputy governor, even including the governor as well. So that is how that is how it's being run in Nigeria. So they've called out to Philip Shaibu to come and return those things because it belongs to the Edo State government. They should return. Philip Shaibu should return it so that the security agencies won't chase after him over this issue, because he has been given 7 days to do so. And this is coming, barely a few months after his impeachment by the Edo State House of Assembly. So guys, what are your thoughts on this?